I welcome everybody, and I got Mark Keohane with me again. Mark, big test coming up, England, South Africa, and as you can tell, summer's hit Cape Town, and with the Boks performance has come a lot of optimism. Reading the bookies' take on this, they've installed England as favourites. Is there a team running out on Saturday that I don't know about?
I don't think there's a team running out for England. They've got 17 players unavailable. 7 realistically would have started in that 23. The big vulnerability, no Vunipola brothers, and that physicality they certainly need against the Springbok pack.
Yeah, some people will say that we're missing Willie Leroux and Faf, but without front ball, which the forwards provide, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I mean, I think we'll get that this weekend, and I don't think England will. So they could have Superman, Batman, Robin in their backfield. It wouldn't make a difference if they're not getting front ball.
Exactly, and if you look at the Springbok pack, how they grew in stature from the England series into the Rugby Championships, and that was the key to upsetting New Zealand's rhythm in the Wellington Test in Pretoria for the best part of 65 minutes, and you were at that game. South Africa physically dominated New Zealand. New Zealand couldn't get that front foot ball, they couldn't get that second phase ball, and that South African pack is ideally suited to a slower tempo game at a field like Twickenham, and I think the pack will just be too strong for England. It reminds me of 2014 when they played over there and they really dismantled. They were also under pressure with Heineke, but they dismantled England's pack. England came back into it when Victor Matfield got sin-binned, but South Africa ultimately won it quite comfortably. I think it'll be very much the same this weekend. South Africa will win by 2 scores.
And welcome back Dwayne Vermeulen, who's going to have a big impact and also make those around him better, I believe.
Yeah, and there's talk that they may play him at 7, or if they start him at 8, Peter Steff at 7, or if they play him at 7, Warren Whiteley at 8. They've got options in the 23.
Nice options to have.
It's lovely options to have. And also, with no disrespect to Bongi, who was outstanding against England, Malcolm Marx is back, and he wasn't in that England series. And Jamie George has already said, you measure yourself against the best. There's no one like him in world rugby. He's a hooker, he's a loose forward. I think he's a better version of the best we saw of Bismarck du Plessis.
Yeah, a lot of talk about the weather in England, hurricanes and all that stuff, but from my sources tell me that tomorrow should be a good game, should be a good day for Test rugby. Maybe a little bit heavy underfoot, but that's not going to impact, that only suits the Boks more, I believe.
Yeah, it's not the end of November going into December where there's a chance of rain and that. It will be cold, but it will be fairly mild temperatures. I don't think the weather will have any bearing on it. The big factor as well is it's first international of the autumn series for England.
And let's look at the record last year when it was the last, when they were looking at this, having played this season. They lost 6 games out of 7. Their last win came against a South African team that was very experimental and a dead rubber.
In torrential rain in Cape Town. It was an awful day to be playing Test footy. And then the one guy who actually was quite exciting that day was Danny Cipriani. He hasn't made the match 23. Some very interesting selections from Eddie Jones.
Well, Eddie Jones is never wrong, is he? And you've worked with him and around those players. Well, I think someone said today that you've always got to prove yourself to be right with Eddie Jones, and you've always got to prove that he's wrong. But he's never wrong, so he sounds like quite the character to work with, and someone I wouldn't enjoy working with.
He's very complex, very intense, and very much a Mr. Fix-It. He can come into a place, take something that was a shambles, and in 2 years get them to a place. He did that with Japan. He improved their conditioning. He went back to the basics, but they wanted him out.
Would have England employed him if he hadn't beaten South Africa?
No, he wouldn't have had a job, okay? But he was about to leave. He was already leaving Japan because the players just didn't want him. The Australians didn't want him at the end of his reign. They just said it was too much. And the first 18 months outstanding with England. He got those basics right. He got them disciplined. He got them conditioned. But already the players were saying, when he started this live scrumming sessions against Georgia and Wales before the Six Nations, the thing about Eddie Jones is that he tends to complicate the simple. And if the formula is working, he doesn't accept it. He feels he's always got to be 2 or 3 steps ahead. And now he's brought John Mitchell in, so that you've got
and Will Carling, who as a
leadership mentor.
He wasn't exactly well liked when he played for England.
Exactly. I mean, I think that's clutching at straws. It's maybe to get that English voice on his side because he's under serious pressure.
Well, he's already to me waved a bit of a white flag saying that the autumn tests are a mere sparring session. I'm afraid they're going to turn into England being a punching bag during these sparring sessions, because if I look at it, I think Eddie Jones came in at the right time. Now, many people will argue with me on this, but they won 18 tests in a row. They won 4 against Australia, and Australia were started their rot at that stage to me, and they've never recovered from it. They beat Uruguay, Fiji, South Africa under Alistair Coetzee, France twice, who don't beat them anymore, who doesn't beat them, Wales 3 times during a bad stretch for Wales, Italy, who cares, and Scotland twice, who cares. I mean, so...
and never played the All Blacks.
And never played the All Blacks. And then they lost to Ireland to end that streak.
And lost to Ireland again.
Yeah, look, I'm not a big fan of Eddie as a coach. I think he is a Mr. Fix-It, but he's also Mr. FUCK it up.
Well, at Saracens as well, when he got to Saracens, when Brendan Fenner took over from him, also he had these complications of playing players out of position, trying to do new things. So it either works for Eddie straight up and he gets an 18 run like he did, winning run, or he goes quite early like he did with the Queensland Reds when he had the worst season ever. I think they lost by 90 points to the Bulls in that last game with a young side. So I don't think England mentally should be installed as anything but a side that's going to come second. The momentum is with South Africa post the Rugby Championship, but more importantly, South Africa and Rassie Erasmus, to complete the season, has to go there and beat England. They lose to an England side coming out of a 6 from 7 defeats, and in their first international at home, it will undo in the South African public consciousness a lot of what happened against the All Blacks. And the key for South Africa to show is the consistency that they can win away from home. They traditionally have struggled with that, and they can back up a good performance with another good one.
Yeah, and to illustrate the lack of experience in the England side, so inexperienced are they that Dylan Hartley has more caps than the entire forward pack combined. So if you can't beat this England side on the day with a strong Bok team, with a physical Bok team, they'll win all those battles. I say that the bookies have got this horribly wrong. To me, South Africa should be 6-10 favourites, and England should be at least 14-10. So I'm at 11-10. They offer great value. I'm putting 2,000 rand down for fund number 2 for them to win. It returns 4,200 rand, which includes the stake. Would you say it's a good bet?
I think that's a great bet. What do you think the differential will be on the day?
I'd say 6 to 10 points. I think there'll be, if Pollard is on and punish an inexperienced side, I don't expect a lot of tries. I expect it to be a very physical battle, but I expect the Boks to win. So 6 to 10 points for me. You?
2 scores.
2 scores, you said that.
12. One misconversion.
Okay, well, Mark, thanks for coming in. Appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
And enjoy the game on the weekend, folks. Should be a Bok victory.